brother!
So in case you somehow missed it, the live-action version of Beauty and the Beast came out last week. Ben and I have each seen it twice now, and we have collected our thoughts and are prepared to give our full review to determine whether we think this is better or worse or different enough than the animated version.
Absolutely. And this movie has been so tremendously popular. I don't think I've seen the theaters quite this way since maybe The Force Awakens. It's been kind of crazy just to see, at least where we live, the amount of buzz about it. So I'm so excited to talk.
Oh yeah, me too.
So diving right on in, I think the first question, as always, is what were your initial reactions to the movie?
Oh man, my initial reaction was that I really, really liked it. I was skeptical because I know they've done a few of these live actions. I know the Cinderella one has not been received so well. The Jungle Book one I thought was better than the original. Yeah. So, and this is like Beauty and the Beast, and you're like, ooh, that's a real big one. You had Emma Watson playing Belle, who I think is the perfect person to cast for it, but is she gonna deliver? Because she's a great person, but I didn't think her Hermione performance was amazing.
That's Emma Watson is a fantastic human being.
Right.
Almost, and you love her and things, but I was very nervous about it, and I would say opening on her singing so early, in the beginning of the movie, it was okay, this is going to be interesting. Little bit of auto-tuning happening here.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit of that auto-tune. No. So I guess before we get to that, though, the very first thing to do is to have a different opening for the Beast and how he comes to be the Beast.
Right, and I feel that was sort of one of those whole elements of the cartoon original that was just shrouded in mystery. It's was he a little boy when the Enchantress first showed up at his castle? Was he really all of that evil, or was he just punished for not letting a stranger into his house? And so they give you more of that backstory, he was kind of this rich ruler, and he is the castle next to the town that Belle is in.
So his Belle's town would have fallen under his kingdom.
Exactly, right. And so it talked about even how he wanted to fill the castle with extravagant things, and so he very heavily taxed the people of the town.
Yes.
So they did a good job of making you maybe better understand why someone would have it out
punish
for him.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with that. And I also because when I was seeing the trailers, I kept thinking, man, they have gone a little over the top on the costuming and the overall detail and ornateness. I'm not sure why. I feel so many movies Transformers, and I think the Power Rangers trailer, there's weird comparisons for Beauty and the Beast, but the textures on the graphics, they're just they're too textured almost. They're going too far. It's distracting.
Right.
And so
right.
I was as I was watching the trailers, I was man, is that going to be is it too detailed? But then they throw in that detail about the prince, he's taxing the town specifically so he can fill his house with super ornate things.
Right.
And that one line just sort of made it much more okay for me. They're almost making fun of themselves though. We know. It's
super, super over the top. Very, very much intentionally on purpose. I know Cogsworth's just the sheer amount of activity happening here
on him.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right. I mean, it began to make sense where you can almost see that what he had done was if I'm going to buy a clock, I'm going to buy the clock.
The clock.
But no, okay, so now that being said, that opening scene, I know both of us kind of had a couple of notes about what you see inside of it, with this dance hall and all the moments leading up to the Enchantress walking in.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to me because a movie that very much is this whole idea of don't judge a book by its cover, do not judge others based on their appearance.
Right.
That general thing. Prince Adam's ballroom is full of diversity. If you look at the women dancing, I mean, it is women, and they do mention that he would go and get the women to go with the
most
clock.
Beautiful, of course.
But there's a diverse range of people in that crowd.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot of interracial couples in this movie, which is a good thing. But a lot of them are already members of the castle. So on the one hand, you have them painting Prince Adam pre-Beast as this jerk, but he's in a place where he's openly welcoming of pretty diverse people, and you're are you saying diversity is bad, or are, you know, like, it's a weird picture to paint because you want to make him like completely bad or something. I don't know how to fix it.
It's a weird, yeah, no, it definitely is a weird thing.
Because like good on the casting for, just real diverse cast.
Exactly. But the very fact that the Enchantress is just going to so immediately judge him on his lack of openness to someone who is different, like, in that very moment, he's being very welcoming to so many people that are different. So that's sort of almost like the almost kind of sort of like they fixed the problem of why he'd be punished, but at the same time he didn't seem like that bad.
Yeah, they run into a similar type of problem with Gaston, but we can talk about that in a second.
Yeah, well, we should probably move on from like the opening 3 minutes.
Well, that's this movie was 2 hours long. I think we'll probably be here talking about it for another 8 hours at least. Buckle up, people.
Long video ahead.
Long video. Okay, now you get past the narration and you go to the town, and the first thing you hear is the singing of Emma Watson.
That wasn't Flow Rider. Are we 100% sure?
We're 100% sure. I think the most amount of criticism, or what most people are saying coming out of this movie, is Emma Watson singing is meh.
Okay, so there's even like a follow-up to that, because like I think especially those first like opening notes were when it was really kind of heavily hit.
Right.
But what was interesting, I think, to me, almost in the greater big picture of that decision, is the fact that this movie is like a musical, almost like you're watching it on Broadway.
Okay.
Like it's like a musical.
Yeah, it is. There's the dancing and everything along with it.
Right. I mean, even the costumes don't seem quite as much like they were trying to make the characters fit in. It's almost like the characters' like wardrobe was almost supposed to be like expressive of like so many more things.
Right, they want to make sure the people in the back row can see the details.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Exactly. So what's interesting about that casting call then, because this movie is going to be super musical, is the fact that like the main character maybe wasn't the strongest voice.
Right. So it's like, I feel like if you're not casting it for singing purposes, like Emma Watson is almost as close to a real life Belle as there is.
Right.
Right, like she's like the perfect real life equivalent, and she like looks the part, and I feel like when she's just acting, she actually does a really good job.
Yes, I would agree.
But yeah, and I don't even think, it seems like the way they edited her voice, I don't know if you'll agree, but it sounds like they could have just edited it to sound like a better version of her singing voice.
Yeah, I think I know where you're going with this.
Instead, it seems like they were trying to like auto-tune it so she sounded like the cartoon version of Belle, and it just came off like weirdly electronic sounding, and I probably would have been okay in a different movie that isn't like in this like medieval setting where there's no electricity.
Right. But yeah, to have that level of detailed correction is slightly distracting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that being said, I would say that like the music in this movie though, I actually loved.
Oh yeah, I really like, for the most part, all of the music. Belle's few singing songs, even most of it's okay. It's that I feel like a lot of criticism is going to put on it because again, that very first note you hear, I feel like that is the biggest offender of the whole movie.
Right.
And it's the first thing you hear, so you're like, huh? Is that what we have to look forward to? I think you get used to it by the end, or by the middle. But,
sure.
Yeah.
So, the next characters that we're really going to get to meet in earnest, kind of in that opening song, is Gaston and LeFou.
Yes.
And I kind of loved both.
I loved both.
Performances. Josh Gad as LeFou was...
Yeah, he nails it. He's so good.
Such a good actor.
I think the very first line he says is one that's not in the animated version. He's just like, but she's so well read, and you're so athletically inclined. I have one problem with the portrayal of LeFou in the whole movie, and that was that during the Gaston song, he doesn't know how to spell Gaston.
Right.
And it's like, the rest of the movie, though, he seems like he's a little bit smarter than the rest of the townspeople.
I had that same thing, yeah, like even down to like the role that he plays with Gaston, it's kind of interesting. Like even the Gaston song, if you're watching it, he's going and like shoveling coins to everybody. It's like the people in the bar are not like chiming in out of their own like unadulterated like
he's sort
enthusiasm,
of like paying them off and being like, hey, listen.
It's like, come on, this is the part you're supposed to step in. Like, so it seems like LeFou has managed his position with Gaston like kind of strategically, like where he doesn't have the same level of sway, but he has figured out how to like maintain his position as his buddy.
Yeah.
So no, I completely agree. When he gets to the point and it's like, I think LeFou knows how.
I know. It does not help that literally behind him while he's spelling it is like Gaston's bar,
right,
like, spelled out in letters,
right,
or something. Or it's like, yeah, you've seen the letters. They're literally probably in front of you right now. Okay.
So, somewhere in that room doesn't say the word. Although I guess if you're illiterate, then maybe you have no idea what these markings mean.
But he gets the GAST.
True.
I think
That's a little too far.
in there.
Yeah. No, so that was interesting. I thought Gaston, they did a good job of creating a character though that like needs to be likable and respected enough in the town to kind of hold that position otherwise, but then still sort of be villainous.
So yeah, they introduced the idea that Gaston is a war veteran in this version of him, and he's like come from a war. They don't say which one, but you got to feel like it's the French Revolution. I think
we went through and we were trying to figure out like the history lesson behind it. I think most likely the French Revolution.
Yeah, so we're gonna guess that, which is a weird thing because you'd have to assume he comes home and he's like beloved by the people and stuff. So you have to think if he's fought in the French Revolution and he was like a captain in the army, then it seems like they have won their independence, and he would be this like real well-liked guy.
Right.
Like, typically that's a good guy role in the movie to have been like part of the freedom fighters.
Sure. And I mean, even on that note, like his pursuance of Belle is not almost assuming that he is the best and she is the best, so they're supposed to be together. There's almost this like little scene. What does he say with LeFou, where he's describing like
he's describing Belle's like disinterest in him or her like ability to like hold herself a little bit higher, and he's like, what would you call that? And LeFou's like, dignity. and Gaston is like, it's outrageously attractive.
Right. And in that moment you're like, Gaston, like, props to you, man. Like,
that's a legit reason to be attracted to someone.
Right, and he's even like, I mean, it's not like all the other women in town who have made themselves a fool to get my attention. It's like, he is actually attracted to the right thing.
Right, yeah, so that gives you another layer to him. He's not, like, entirely superficial, like, in that moment. And it makes you feel like he's not, like, going against Belle's wishes. It makes you feel like he's really, like, trying to prove to her that he is up to her level a little bit. Like, he definitely believes he is.
Right.
But, he's still like, it gives, it doesn't seem like he's quite the oaf as much.
Sure. And then even on that note, if we kind of like fast forward in the movie a little bit to when Maurice comes into the bar, and there's sort of this moment where he's describing to everybody that his daughter's been captured by
the Beast.
By the Beast, which to everybody in the room is like, probably not, though. Gaston does, like in this moment, you see he's like, this is an opportunity to impress the girl I like's father by following him on assuming a fool's errand, or just like this is obviously not the case,
right?
But I'm gonna go anyway,
right? Yeah. So yeah, he's I think we'll just jump. I don't know. Maurice later tells him, "Oh, you will never marry my daughter," and that scene almost bothered me. It made me feel like Maurice is being a little harsh at the time,
right? So that is like during the sequence where Gaston has now followed him into the woods at night in the cold.
Yeah, and he just told, Maurice came into the bar and was like, "Oh, the Beast took my daughter," and everyone's laughing at him, and Gaston is like, "Everyone stop laughing at this man immediately.
Right.
I'll help you, Maurice." And he's like, "Yeah, okay." Literally the whole town was laughing at you. This is the guy who was going to help you, and he said that. He stopped them from laughing at you.
Right.
He hasn't done anything bad yet.
Right, he hasn't done anything bad yet, and the thing about what Maurice says there is that, Maurice himself should not be making the decision for Belle. It should be he should have said something more along the lines of, Belle will marry the person that she deems fit.
Right.
Which maybe has a little less pizzazz to it.
but what might have fit into the story better, too.
Right.
Because, Gaston is almost understandably frustrated.
Yes.
He's they're driving out in the middle of nowhere, and, what I kept thinking is, if Maurice had accurately been able to get them back to the castle, quickly, Maurice would have loved that, right? Then Gaston, he would have done exactly what he said he was going to do.
Right. And because, we quietly know that the Beast is turning into this good guy, but Maurice does not know that. And if Gaston gets there, he's certainly not going to know that and going to try to kill the Beast. So, yeah, really, Maurice not being able to get back is the whole issue that makes Gaston...
Right, like, presumably, had they found the castle, the fight would have ensued. Belle would have been like, oh, no, don't. And Gaston would have been like, oh, yeah, I am. And then you would have the same outcome. But, like, if you have never seen Beauty and the Beast before, like, you at this point should think, Maurice, you're a jerk.
Right, you are being unfair to this kind gentleman.
That's right. To be fair, immediately after this, Gaston shows his true colors, ties Maurice up in the woods, and literally leaves him there for wolves to eat him.
Yes.
Yeah, so at that point, you can call him evil. But until then...
Right. Actually, there is one thing that we will reverse back to about them trying to show us that Gaston is evil. There's this scene when he's following Belle, like, up to her cottage, where he walks through the garden, and they, like, show him... maybe not deliberately, but very, like, just stepping on...
the cabbages.
And I'm like, guys.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be, like, that obtuse to the situation.
Right, so the problem with that scene is, like, I feel like what they wanted was, like, oh, would it be great for Gaston to look like he's not caring about this garden and just, like, trash through it. And then I bet what happened is they tried to do it and like, oh, cabbages require stomping.
Right, but because it's not a cartoon. Like, the cartoon, the cabbage would have just given way to this hulking barge of a human being.
Right.
But I think in real life, what probably happened was the actor himself was like, crap, I'm going to fall over if I don't really stomp these
I'm
things.
going to roll my ankle here. It's hard to break a cabbage without noticing, so they make him, like, stomp on it, which just makes it look like he's just being stupid for stupid's sake.
Right, yeah, it's that suspension of disbelief thing.
Yeah,
right?
that is exactly.
For that moment, you're like, I just watched the actor do a thing.
Yep, that's exactly what happened right there. One more thing on Gaston. They removed his catchphrase from the movie. Like, at no point does he say, nobody says no to Gaston.
And it's funny you said that because sometimes you don't notice the thing that isn't there.
Right, exactly. I noticed. But
yeah, there is that, and then in the Gaston song, what does he say to LeFou that, like, I'm afraid I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah. LeFou, I'm afraid I've been thinking, and he says, a dangerous pastime, I know. That's in the animated version, that's not in this one.
Right.
And I was sad about that, because, like, it's such a funny line.
They drop two great Gaston lines.
They do. Although, they do insert a couple of really great lines into the Gaston song. One of which was, hold on, let me look it up because I wrote it down.
Got notes.
Who's more than the sum of his parts like Gaston? It's like, that was a great line. And then
that's like a direct, like, description of the word synergy.
Right. And then the other one was, he's like, LeFou, I needed encouragement, and he says, well, no one's as easy to bolster as you, which is, like, such a funny thing because it's, like, insulting, but because of what he's saying, it continues to bolster him and, like, proves it true. It's like, I loved it, that one. That was really good, too.
Yeah, so, all in all, the LeFou-Gaston dynamic was just on point.
Okay, so what did you think about the residents of the castle, like Lumiere and Cogsworth and Mrs. Potts?
I will say that Ewan McGregor being the voice of Lumiere, like...
Ooh, real good.
Very good.
Yeah, didn't know it was him.
I did not know it was him until the end of the movie, and they're, like, transformed back, and I'm like, wait a second.
I didn't know until the credits roll, because I was like, oh, Ewan McGregor? Good French accent.
Good French accent.
I say that, there's probably people in France watching like, his accent sucks.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Fooled me.
Yeah, got me. Good me, dumb American here. I thought it was real good.
Otherwise, yeah, so let's see. I thought Cogsworth was spectacular. Mrs. Potts, and you know who was better, and we have talked about this, was Chip.
Oh, Chip was definitely a 180 degree turn. I mean, like, in the live action movie, Chip is like adorable and funny and just like not conniving. He's just like a mischievous little kid who's like making jokes the whole time.
Right.
In the animated version, it's almost like I need to fast forward through when Chip is talking because he's so annoying and I don't like him at all.
Need less Chip.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I thought that was good. One of the things about the residents of the castle that was a little bit different was how they, like, the curse didn't eternally make them what they were. It was like after the last petal fell,
they basically just turned into whatever.
They are officially forever transformed into these objects. I mean, unless I've missed it in the animated film, which I don't think I have. What were your thoughts on that? That was a little bit different.
That is. It almost adds like a layer of motivation to the beast. Because, like, on the one hand, maybe he's like, whatever, man, I'm freaking strong. This is not so bad. What are you talking about?
It's a good-looking beast.
It's a good, yeah. I've said this in the previews a few times. They almost made the beast, like, too good-looking.
Yeah. Yeah. Even at the end, I'm kind of like, what if we can go back? And then even Belle's like, maybe you should grow a beard.
Right.
It's like, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, like, they do a good job making him look scary at the beginning and stuff, but not really scary enough.
Yeah.
I feel like he cleans up super easy.
Yeah. So no,
I would have thought the beast could have been a little scary. I like the beast, though, a lot. I like that he was funny and made jokes.
Yes.
I like that he wasn't uneducated. That's a big critique of the animated version.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool new development, and it did actually add something to why Belle and the Beast would have maybe had like a deeper connection.
Right.
There's like the whole Stockholm Syndrome conversation about the original, but this is like they genuinely have a joint interest that
in
then
reading.
You get to witness them engage in together.
Yeah, and they do. They literally showed them like sitting next to each other just reading books.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is good.
Right.
Now, I liked that.
Speaking of books, though, what were your thoughts on there was a new artifact added that was the Enchantress's book that allows him to go anywhere in the world.
Okay, so a couple of thoughts on this. One, I don't like it.
Right.
Two, for one, adding a whole extra artifact? Oh, no. You can't just throw that in there out of nowhere. Two, the only reason it is in there at all is to explain Belle's mother. Like, that's the real reason they included it in there. Is so they could travel back and you could see the history of Belle's mother, which we just did a video about and we very much wanted to know. And I'm like, on the one hand, I'm like, I'm glad I know, but on the other hand, I'm like, that was not needed at all. I did not like that storyline. I thought it was stupid.
It was odd, and like it actually took you away, like
from the rest of the story.
From the rest of the story. I mean, like you sort of get into this moment where it's like, maybe I should get popcorn. Refill time.
Yeah, it was it was a weird departure from like the rest of the story. It doesn't like add any new layers. I didn't think it did.
Well, okay, and so on that note then too, because like there's this whole thing about how Maurice like won't really reveal to Belle what has happened, and it's kind of like to the point where Belle is like, tell me something else about my mother, and like that something else was that she was fearless. It was like, you got one more word.
And the thing is, like, they make it out like what happened to her is going to be this weird reveal. And it's like, oh, she died of the plague. And you're like, why couldn't you tell her that, though?
Yeah.
Like, even I wrote something else down. He was like, this is a small town and small-minded. But small means safe. I'm like, I'm sorry, but small town doesn't mean you're safe from the plague. And he makes it, like, the way he presents that sentence is as if safe means you're safe from what killed your mom. Right. That was my read on it.
Yeah, and it should have. Yeah, that almost needed to be like something related to big city danger. Like that needed to be the imminent threat associated with like where they had come from and why they're so much better off in this new situation.
Right.
And even going further into that, having the roses prevalent in the Paris house, like her childhood home. I still feel like it plays with the mother is the enchantress thing.
Oh yeah, they could have set you up for that. Like Maurice's understanding was that like magic killed his wife or something.
Right.
And like that's why he had to go into the small town because there's not going to be magic there, or that would have been a better thing. I think a line to go with. There was so much. First of all, it didn't need to be there, and if it was going to be there, there were so many other obvious ways that it could have gone that would have made it like almost mind blowing. Yep, I agree with that.
You want to know what my favorite part of that whole sequence though is the Beast gets to Paris and he's suggesting going to see Notre Dame or
the Champs-Élysées. Too touristy.
It's like
the Beast saves that scene.
Yeah, he does. Like he asks like too touristy. It's like Was tourism even a thing in the 1700s?
I know, right? It's like sort of like a modern day thing to say.
Right.
Almost. I don't know. Maybe I guess tourism must have been a thing a little bit.
I mean, in some capacity, but yeah, I felt like that was that was a funny little.
Say one more thing about the book is that the first time I saw the movie, I thought they were like able to, like travel there almost in like a spiritual sense, like they were sort of like able to project themselves into the space.
Sure.
But then on the second one I realized they physically were teleported from the castle into the windmill because Belle takes the pen back with her.
Right.
Or with the pen, by the way, which looks like a Hallmark pen.
Oh my god. That, I was going to say, yeah, it's like the other thing that was from the modern day was the pen.
Yeah, like
it's like a plastic pen.
It looked like a plastic clicky pen with like a rosette dot, like a cheap one.
It jingled, too. Like, I don't know if you noticed, like, at the end of the movie, Maurice has it, like, in the back of, like, the cart. He's, like, shaking it a couple times, and it's like, it's jingling. Like, that pen is jingling right now.
I didn't like the pen. I didn't like the visit to Paris.
Right.
But, okay, so on the Enchantress, she is in the movie a little bit more. She's the one who saves Maurice from being eaten by wolves and heals him and stuff. And even that, I was just like, why did she have to be the one to do? Like, what is she still here for? And the real reason I think she was there is because they wanted her to be able to be there after the last rose petal falls to see Belle, so that she could, like, see it happen so she could reverse the spell. Like, which gave the other guests of the house, or like Lumiere and Cogsworth and Mrs. Potts, the chance to die first, and so they could put that on screen.
I think that's exactly what they wanted, because it is a powerful moment, like when you see all the residents of the castle turning into these now permanent just pieces of furniture.
Yep.
It's a good scene.
Yeah, it is. You're really sad. You're like, oh no, like they were so close. She does love him. No.
Right. So I think you're absolutely right. I think what they had was this story element that they wanted in the movie so badly, rightfully so, because it was a good moment. But what they had to do in order to get it there was the issue, and that was including the Enchantress as a character, Agatha.
I don't know. Here's the thing, though. I still don't think she needed to be there. I still think Belle could have just said, "I love you," and then it could have just reversed it.
And so the other thing about the Enchantress actually being in the movie is that, like, in Disney movies before, they have kind of had, like, the magic go away and then still kind of do its desired purpose anyway. Like, in Tangled, at the end, like, Flynn is down, the hair has been cut, and then, like, the tear has, like, the last little morsel of magic left in it to
heal him up.
Right, exactly. So, to have, like, the whole Rose situation kind of come to its fruition, like he failed his mission of doing it, but then she witnesses it, and let's say she has like a soft moment, and she's like, okay, you did it. Maybe just a little bit late, but we'll still count it.
Right. Okay, I agree. She didn't need to be there. Speaking of the rose petals falling, so they have this new twist in this one where every time a petal falls, the, like, Lumiere and Cogsworth, and they all become a little bit more a piece of their furniture.
Right.
You know, they become a little less human. And also some of the castle crumbles.
Right.
Now, I have a problem with the castle crumbling, because it's not like when the final rose petal falls, the whole castle just comes down.
That's true.
You know? Which, I'm like, so what was the point of it crumbling at all? Because, and I'll tell you, you know what the reason was that so no one had to kill Gaston.
Yep.
Yep.
That's exactly. It's another one of those things where they had to include it. And they didn't want anybody to be the bad guy.
Right, and I didn't like that. Gaston, because the fight between the Beast and Gaston is great.
Yes.
Like they go blow to blow. Gaston, I mean, he shoots him a couple times. But Gaston is winning the fight.
Right.
You know, and like he gets the last laugh, and there's no way the Beast is gonna get up and finish him off. It's just like, oh wait. Good thing they didn't fall in love yet, because otherwise the castle wouldn't have crumbled. Yeah. Which is a weird thing.
It's like Gaston died due to really, really bad timing.
Basically. It's like in the animated one, he like stabs him and the Beast like recoils, and that like recoil knocks Gaston off the building.
Right. And so even in that though, it's not like the Beast has already done the moment where he's like, he has the power to kill him
and he chooses
not to. So it's like, I think you do the same thing. You still have something more directly related to the action of like that final blow than being the thing that throws Gaston into the abyss. But let me ask you about that then, because Gaston using a gun, I thought was odd.
Yeah, I agree. Like, well, in the animated one, he shoots him with the arrow and then he stabs him with the knife.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, he goes for the gun, and it's sort of like they introduced guns, and so it almost felt like they were trying to correct another plot hole. Like, if you watch the animated movie, you're like, okay, he was using a gun earlier, now he's fighting this giant beast, why is he using a bow and arrow?
Well, and he carries both a gun and a bow and arrow.
Yeah, it's a crossbow on his back.
Right, yeah.
What are you doing?
It's like, this is, like, how outfitted was this guy?
Yeah. I mean, he was ready for the fight, for sure.
Or The Walking Dead.
True. Yeah. Oh, man.
So, yeah, I don't know. I thought the gun was weird. I thought it was maybe a little less, it's going to maybe sound a little morbid, but, like, less personal in the form of attack.
It wasn't, like, as vicious. It didn't,
Like, a stabbing is, like, about as intimate as an attack can be. I mean, you have to be very close, and you have to, like, put yourself slightly at risk in order to do it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I thought it was odd, but...
Yeah. It still worked.
It was fine. I wouldn't call it like a criticism of the movie. I think just in terms of where you make changes, I would prefer if they had...
Well, I think the knife just makes sense because it gives Gaston a chance to, like, accidentally kill himself. Because the beast just goes like this.
Exactly.
You know? And then it's like, it's not really anyone's fault except Gaston, who shouldn't have done that because his life was just spared.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But, so, that's my thoughts on that.
What else you got?
Well, I think something we probably have to address is the LeFou gay scene.
If there has ever been something that's been more blown out of proportion...
No kidding.
Like, ever.
Ever.
It was... Okay, so, if you haven't seen the movie, you could literally...
Blink and miss
it.
God, you could be watching Eyes Wide Open and miss it because it's such a non-thing.
It's such a non-thing, yeah. So, throughout the movie, you see LeFou, and I thought LeFou being gay, like, made sense. Like, it was almost, that was almost like filling in a plot hole. Like, why is LeFou so obsessed with Gaston? And it's like, oh.
Because he's attracted to him.
Because he's attracted, yeah, because he's obsessed with Gaston.
Right, makes sense.
And... So, I guess at different points in the movie, you do get introduced to this other character, and at one point, the wardrobe cross-dresses three soldiers, and two of them are, like, outraged, and you see one of them kind of be like, oh, not bad, I kind of like this.
But even that, it's like, it's so... Is that the guy he dances with at the end, then?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so yeah, the moment is, like, at the very end, they're doing the ballroom dancing where people are switching partners, and LeFou and this other guy, like... No, like, they're partners for like half a second.
Right, yeah, so like everybody kind of like trades partners, trades partners, and for like 1 second you see LeFou and this other guy like just cross across the camera.
It could almost be like this is a weird dance, this is a mistake.
Right.
Thing. You could think that, but it's hard to even tell that's the right guy, if it's the same guy.
Right.
Because you've seen him, one, dressed as like this Three Musketeer bar ruffian guy.
Right.
And then dressed as a woman by the wardrobe, and then he's in this like really nice proper attire. So he's got the like you can't even tell if it's the same guy.
Yeah, it took me the second pass to realize that that's who it was.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, no, it was odd. I don't think anybody should have made a huge fuss about it.
Yep.
I mean, either way, to begin with, like I don't think it matters, in especially in a movie that has this entire central theme about like acceptance.
Right.
It's like. Yeah, I think it fit fine, and if you were going to be bothered by it, like, even then, you don't have grounds to stand on, because it essentially could have
just not happened. Missed the message of the whole movie, and it essentially could have not happened, and it was dumb, and that's all we're going to say about it.
I feel like one thing we do have to talk about is Easter eggs.
Yeah, sure.
So I didn't notice a ton of them, and most of the time I actually don't until we go and we have, like, the movie and we go frame by frame.
Yep.
There were two that were, like, I don't even know if I'll call them Easter eggs, but I liked them. Like, they made me laugh, and probably because of the amount of time I've spent watching the other movies. But at one point in time, they refer to, like, villainous people as ruffians, which is, like, one of the things that Mother Gothel, Entangled, she talks about is, like, ruffians, thugs.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was, like a funny use of a word that is not super common. And then the other was sorcery. Which is a line from
Frozen.
Frozen.
Yeah.
And it's like right after Elsa basically just like demonstrates her powers, and the Duke of Weaselton.
Duke of Weselton.
Yeah, he has this like sorcery. And then when Gaston holds up the mirror, he says it like in the exact same tone.
Yeah, this is sorcery.
I don't think they were intentional, but I still loved them.
Just more like a running Disney motif.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so I'm spotted what I maybe think are a few. Some maybe yes or no. One is during the "Be Our Guest" song. Cogsworth at one point, instead of having this like Napoleon hat on like he does in the animated one, he has like a turban, and he comes out of what looks like Aladdin's palace.
Yes, yeah. And I saw it on the second run, and I definitely think it is meant to be Aladdin's palace.
I think it is meant to be Aladdin's palace.
That's a cool one because it's sort of like, it's a nod to the original movie, which was making a nod to what would have been the most upcoming movie following. So in 1992... it would have been making references to Aladdin, which would have been coming out in 1993.
Yeah.
So this is a 2017 movie making reference to a 1992 movie making reference to a 1993 movie.
Yeah. So another one, and I don't know if this was intentional, over one of the bars there is a golden goose.
Okay.
And the movie Gigantic is coming out, and that's a Jack and the Beanstalk thing.
Sure. Yeah.
So
okay.
that's a golden goose reference. Maybe that could just be accidental because they needed props or whatever. And then the bar where they're doing all the fighting, like Gaston's bar, I'm not sure if this was intentional either, but it has a hog's head outside.
Okay.
And it just made me think of the Hog's Head Inn from Harry Potter, and since they had Emma Watson, it seemed like that could have been a nod. Probably not. And then on the same lines, one of the first people Belle talks to, she basically has that conversation Neville has about the Remember All, where he's like, have you forgotten something again? Oh, I have. Trouble is, I can't remember what I've forgotten.
Right.
I was like, was that a Harry Potter reference?
Well,
there?
It's funny because that was another one of the overarching like plot holes that they sort of correct with the movie, but that was Mr. Potts that said it, who inevitably ends up being the husband of Mrs. Potts, and I guess the father.
Like, that's what he's forgotten, is that he has a wife.
Right. And so one of the things that like they explain in the opening sequence of the movie is that not only like part of like the curse meant that everybody who loved the people inside of it essentially had forgotten about them.
Yeah.
And so what was interesting about that, and then we actually see it a couple other times later in the movie, is that he's like aware that he has forgotten something. And I think that was kind of like a cool nod. And so at the end of the movie, he even comes out and he says something along the lines of like, I remember, I do. It's like all of a sudden he now remembers the thing that was like,
removed from his memory.
So I even though I thought the exact same thing, it completely reminded me of Neville, I think that was probably more doing
I think so. Yeah. It's just, I think it's because it's, the same actress who played Hermione, and such like a line from Neville that it just immediately took me there.
So yeah, my last thoughts is like, I thought that the movie had lots of really good, subtle, kind of like semi-dry humor, which I thought was hilarious. I thought the Beast had a couple of really good one-liners, like when he's like, "Your village sounds terrible." Yeah. After Bella's described how everybody thinks that she's odd.
Yeah.
And then one of my other favorites was Maurice at the end after they've like escaped the little cart there. He's standing, and the guy who's supposed to be like guard against them walks over, and like Maurice asks him, he's like, she's very headstrong. Do you have children?
Yeah.
like he's just trying to have this like funny, relatable moment.
Genial.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought the movie did a really good job of a lot of different layers, and I thought it was enjoyable throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
So what about you? Anything?
Just other little things I liked. I liked that the library at the beginning has literally could fit on this table.
That was such a cool thought.
Yeah.
Like it completely caught me off guard. Like she walks into the library, which is like a desk. It's like this desk.
Yeah, it's like this desk with 13 books on it.
Right. Because that makes the moment when she sees the Beast's library so much more powerful.
Yeah, it's like, it was a lot of books.
Right. Compared to, literally the 13, all of which she's read and is now, rereading.
Yeah.
So that, no, absolutely. I thought that was a really cool thing.
Yeah, I liked that. I loved when the Beast throws the snowball at her face and it hits her square in the face. It is like the size of a volleyball.
Right.
So it's hilarious.
Right, because in the animated movie, that little snowball fight sequence is maybe a little bit goofy almost. This one was I felt like it was very on the nose and very much I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
Giant snowball.
I don't think they needed to include the Beast eating like a beast, because like that's supposed to be like his unrefinedness, but they also include that he's educated, and so it doesn't seem to me like he couldn't use a fork.
Right.
Or a spoon or something.
I think in the animated movie, it definitely seemed more like as time had gone on, the Beast had become more of a beast.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point in time, I mean, he like is familiar with Shakespeare. And,
right.
You know,
he's
Juliet,
like quoting Shakespeare, but he can't use a spoon.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
I'm afraid
no,
not.
That's true. And I think that's probably one of those things. If they like excluded, people would have been upset, but the inclusion almost also seemed odd.
What I wanted was for Belle to like do it. just lean into it.
Straight up dive in.
That would have
been a good move.
Yeah, she could have done it. Yeah. And then just the last thing I liked was when they do the reveal on the yellow dress.
Yes,
I really liked that. That was like it's like, man, this is like when I saw Hermione at the Yule Ball. It's like, darn, does Emma Watson look good in a dress?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that was a really good moment, and that was something that like so much thought had to go into, because like, that yellow dress is like Beauty and the Beast.
Right. Like as soon as you said it, like as soon as they started doing the trailers, like I feel like all anyone really wanted to see was the yellow dress.
The yellow dress.
Yeah, I saw the actual yellow dress at Disney World.
What?
Yes.
Outstanding.
I was standing there with Beth, and we were looking at this yellow dress, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Well, unless it's like the one she actually wore, like. And then Beth puts her sign, and she's like, "Worn by Emma Watson in the movie," and I was like, "Oh, this is the dress."
The dress.
Yeah, that is really cool.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
And then with the dress, this is like maybe like a weird little thing into like my last little bit. When she leaves the castle to go save Maurice, like you see her kind of like in the distance all the while the Beast is singing this song, and like the yellow dress is kind of like glowing as she runs away. But the song that Beast is singing, like the Beast's ballad, was
really great.
Really good.
Really good. There's 2 new songs. That is one of them. There's the other one. It's called like Days in the Sun. That one's pretty forgettable.
Yeah.
But this one, the first time I was like, if they're gonna add songs, can they add a fun song? Why do they both have to be such downers? And then the second time I was really listening to it, and it was like, I was almost like crying. It's like so sad.
It was a much better way for Beast to be reacting to Belle leaving. Like, whereas in the movie you see her, or in the animated movie you see her run away, and he like howls at the moon. You know, he's like so furious, like he had her, and then she left under like understandable circumstances.
Yeah.
And this one was more like, I got to love somebody, and that was like, that's a powerful thing. It was almost like he was grateful that it ever happened, even if it didn't mean that he got to keep her forever. So I thought that was a better way for him to react to that moment.
All right, so then what do you have it? What is your rating for this movie?
I would give it a 9 out of 10.
You give it a 9 out of 10. I mean, I would probably give it a 9.5 even. I would do it.
Man,
it was good.
Those
I really
are fighting
liked
words.
I really liked it.
Man, yeah, no, I thought it was spectacular. I will watch it again for sure. I mean, even that's one of the biggest things I think that goes into like my assessment of a movie. Like you see it one time and like it can be enjoyable for whatever's sake, but if you can see it again and be like into it again, then I'm like, oh, this is a good movie.
Yeah, I've been seeing critic scores online, and some of them are like around like 70 or so. I'm like, I just don't get it. I don't know what they're nitpicking out of it. 30 points down.
No, and it could even be the case that you're talking about a movie that is now so successful that it's going to be held to like an even higher standard.
Sometimes, being successful can hurt your critical reception.
Right.
It's not okay for critics to like popular stuff.
Exactly.
Which that's just the misreading as far as I'm concerned.
But probably the more important question is what everybody else thought of it.
Yes.
So if you guys would leave your thoughts, if you've seen the movie, in the towel section down below, this is going to be like a really cool one to kind of get down there and talk to people about what they liked and didn't like.
I think so, yeah. So let us know, what were your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, what did you like they changed, what didn't you like? We will be down there, we will be discussing it. But otherwise, I think that's about it.
I think that's everything for today.
Yeah. All right, well, I will see you in another life, brother.